Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where my guest expert for today is the lovely Brandi. Hi, Brandi.
Hey, thanks so much for having me again. It's so good to
Thank
see you.
you. Thank you. And Brandi is a psychic medium mentor, as we saw in our previous episode, and also a professional pet communicator. And that is also the topic we're going to talk about today, and that is communicating with your pets through psychic readings. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I would love to know, how did you discover that you are psychic to begin with?
Yeah, so as I said on the last episode, I just had an interest in it. But it wasn't until I was in my 20s where I had a very profound spiritual experience with my grandma. She was passing away. My family and I were in her hospice room, and as she was taking her last breath, I literally felt her spirit rise above the bed. And when I looked above the bed, I saw the most like magnificent colors. Like I don't even think they're in this universe. And
Mm.
they were forming a star and like beating in and out like a heartbeat. And in that moment, I just knew without knowing how I knew that death wasn't final, that I would be seeing her again, that she was at peace, that she
Mm.
was going on to this new amazing journey. And like everything just changed for me in those few minutes. That really got my, like, I wasn't afraid of it anymore. It was actually this beautiful thing that was going on. And then it took me years to figure out, like, okay, I have this gift, obviously. Like, how do I develop it? And I started taking a lot of classes and reading a lot of books, but like nothing seemed to be working. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just a one time thing. And so my friend, who she's actually a life coach also, and she asked me if I had ever found a mentor. And I was like, I don't think they exist. So I went online, I couldn't find one. So I asked a medium that I had been going to for readings, and I was like, is there any chance you could just like take me under your wing and kind
Right.
of show me what you did to get to where you are? And so thank goodness she did. And I only worked with her for like maybe an hour a month for 6 months. And then my abilities just skyrocketed. So it was amazing to for someone to actually be able to work with you and you can ask questions and get validations where a book or like a 1 hour class can't do that for you, right? But when you can
Right.
work with someone extensively, they can really help you. And then that's when I got into the mediumship reading. So I did those for a few years. And then I decided, you know what? I want to take it a step further. And now I want to be a mentor for other people to help
Mhm.
them, be able to develop their abilities and be that person for them. But while I was doing that, I saw a class that was a month long. You could take it for like however many months you wanted to, but like a
Mhm.
month long class on talking with pets. And I just thought that sounded so fun. I was only in the class for like 1 week and then I was able to talk to pets. So
Oh,
I think
wow.
because I already had like the ability, I just kind of had to like turn that channel on,
Right.
like to know how to do it. And so I've been doing those readings ever since. And it's
Yeah.
just been so much fun and lighthearted. I just love doing those readings.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, how do you go from reading, well, humans basically, to
Yeah.
pets? Like,
Yeah. And it's basically the same way. Like,
mhm.
so whether you want to call it telepathy or mind to mind communication, or whether you want to call it clairaudience, I'm getting the messages in my mind. It's my voice, but it's not my thought. And so that's how
Right.
I know it's coming from either the pet or the human.
Right.
So the way that I'm getting it is the same, but the humans, of course, mediumship readings are so much, there's a lot of comfort, healing, and grieving going on. So they're a lot heavier for my energy. Where the pets, whether they're here or they've passed away, they are just like the lightest, like loving, trusting little things that like I actually get more energy from them because like
Yeah.
I get excited to do the reading and then they're so lighthearted and then I feel great after the reading as well. So
Yeah.
it's just like the energy is so different between the humans and the pets. So yeah,
Yeah.
the pets are so much fun.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a lot more, yeah, like you said, lighthearted and
Yes. Yeah.
probably also like filled with less grief.
Well, obviously they're part of our family a lot of the
Yeah.
time, so there is a lot of grief there,
Mhm.
but their messages are just so light for the person that's grieving. They'll let them know I'm sending you signs or like I'm still with you, or some have even reincarnated and they're like, actually, I'm still with you. I'm with the dog you have now.
Oh,
Or
wow. Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. Like their messages are just always like, even though maybe you had to put me down, I trusted you with my life, so I'm going to trust you with my death. And so don't have any guilt around that, because I think
Right.
people
Yeah.
have so much guilt. Like, did I do it too soon? Did I wait too long? Did they suffer? And they're really able to spell it out for them that, no, you did it at the perfect time. Like, I didn't suffer or whatever. And so they let
Yeah.
their human know, which is like
Yeah.
so healing as well.
It's so comforting, yeah. And
Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean like that the grief. I don't mean to undermine, of course, the grief, but usually like from their soul's perspective, it
yes,
usually carries a bit less grief than when like a human departs with a lifetime of experiences and maybe even like
yeah,
traumas or such. But
yeah.
yeah, that's why I thought like, okay, it could be a bit more lighthearted and like, is it like automatically, so to say, like when your pet passes, that they become your spirit animal, or is that not the case?
No, a spirit animal is actually something separate. So your spirit
Okay,
animal is like your spirit guide. They've been
right.
there with you since the day you were born. They might have been with you in your past lives. They can also change throughout your lifetime, but that is not your pet. That is a guide or a messenger that helps you throughout your
Mm.
life, where your pet is, your loved one. So they're not actually becoming your spirit animal. Those are two different things. Does that make sense?
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but they're still with you in their spirit form.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But they're not really giving guidance like a spirit guide
Right.
would. They're more just like, I'm still around. I know I'm going to see you again. Like just they're just
Yeah.
like a human would be, like that they're still around with us, just in a
Right.
different way, because they're
Yeah.
now in the energy form instead of physical. So still with us, just in a different way.
I literally just saw like a ball of light moving across your head,
Oh,
like this.
so that is because I'm in front of a window, and so when the
Oh,
cars
okay.
go by, you are not the first person that thought it was an orb or something, and I should
Yeah.
probably tell people that.
I was like, oh my gosh, is that my dog? No. That's funny though, but yeah. But it's good to know that there's a difference between like well, the spirit of your pet and still with you versus a spirit animal who's
Yes,
probably like more like a guardian angel that is with you
yes,
from the day you are born, basically.
yes, absolutely. Yep.
Mm. And I would love to know, like, what if okay, you feel that you probably have a gift for like reading or psychic or mediumship. How can you start that connection with your like current pet, a live pet?
Yeah. So what I do for a reading is I don't even need to be near the pet. Like, I do all of my readings virtually over Zoom. The only thing I need is to have a photo of them with their eyes looking into the camera. And as
Hmm.
long as I can look into their eyes, because the eyes really are the window of the soul, as soon as you look into their eyes and you just start to make that connection. And again, if you start to hear messages that you're like, if you start to question, like, did I just think of that? That means you did not think of that. And that's coming from them. Because, if you were thinking, like, it's hot outside today, you wouldn't then question yourself, like, is it hot outside
Yeah,
today? Did I just
well, it
think
is.
it's hot outside today? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't question that. So if you're
Right.
questioning it, that means something did just happen. And that's the message. So I think a lot
Yeah,
of people have that self doubt that they don't realize that that's a message. But yeah, if you're questioning it, that means that something just happened. And so
right.
really tune into all of your senses, because
Mhm.
that's how the messages are coming through.
Yeah, it's when they don't feel natural. Like you said, when you start to question that
Yes.
message, like, wait, that wasn't me. That's not how I
Yeah.
normally think or
Yes.
speak or
Exactly.
act. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's a good indicator.
Yeah.
And I would love to know because now you have done, of course, some many psychic readings for pets. Is there like this thread or this main thread or like a main message that usually comes through?
So not so much for the pets who are still with us. They are very specific, because usually I do let the person who's getting the reading ask questions. So usually that will more like the pets who are still alive will just be answering their owners' questions that they have. And that might be like behavioral issues, health issues, even their personality. Are they happy in the house? All those kind of questions. But I do find that the pets who have passed away that are now in the spirit world, they definitely are like a definite like string of message that's all the same would be, I'm still with you. Don't feel guilt around the way I passed. Like, they don't even want to be remembered in that way. They want to be remembered for the memories and for their life. Like, don't think when you think of me, don't think of that last day. Don't think of those
Right.
last moments that's going to make you sad, because you made them so happy and they just want to make you happy. And so they don't want you to have that guilt. Yeah, and so they really are trying to really protect their owner's heart by not letting them like really get that grieving going. Like they're like, we're gonna see each other again. So it's just kind of like a farewell. I'll be here whenever you pass away. So yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely all have that common messaging of, don't have the guilt. I'll see you again. Yeah, all that, which is
It's a
beautiful.
very hopeful.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it surprises me how similar the messages are from deceased animals versus like deceased humans.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, they all have like that same message of like, I'll see you again. I'm still with you just in a different way. Yeah, so it really is. And even some of the pets will tell me like, hey, I'm with grandma. And so I'll tell the owner, like, did your grandma pass away? And then they're like, oh my gosh, so they're together. And I'm like, yes. But then there's other animals that are like, they've seen the humans, but they want to go hang out with all the other animals. So I've had both where like some were like, I'm going to stick with the family. I want to be with the humans. And other ones are just like, no, I just want to play with all the other pets.
Right. I want
But
to
either
go hang
way,
out
they're
with my
having
dogs.
a good time and they're,
Yeah.
they're doing well and they're at peace. So either way, they're having, it's really a good time in the spirit world. It's not like they're like in any pain or anything like that of when they might have passed away.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, like you said, like also very helpful for the owners who usually deal with more grief, of course, than the spirit itself.
Yes. Yep.
Hmm.
And actually, I had this one dog who the owner didn't even know what had happened. Like, she just came home and the dog was like, had this like labored breathing. And she hurried up and took him to the vet, which was only like a few minutes down the road. And the dog actually passed away on the way to the vet's office. And they didn't do like an autopsy or anything. She didn't know how the dog passed away, but he was able to tell her, like, this is what happened. I'm glad it went quickly, so I wasn't in a lot of pain. I didn't want to pass away in the house because I didn't want you to have that memory. And I also didn't want to pass away in the vet's office because, that's not my home. So he actually chose to pass away in the car on the way there. So that there was kind of like a no memories involved with it. Like not to have that feeling in the house of like my pet passed away here. So he was really able to give her a lot of comfort and tell her what had happened. So, that's just something that the vet even wouldn't have been able to give her.
Yeah. And that's amazing, the depth of that wisdom and knowledge.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, of course, I always know that animals are a lot smarter and sensitive and emotionally intelligent than most humans give credit for. But
Yes.
when you say this in their spirit version, basically,
Yeah.
that they're still so deep and connected, that's truly amazing.
It is. And they're just so intuitive, like, and that's why they have therapy dogs out there, because the dogs, you can teach a dog, if someone's having a seizure, but it's really, they're only going to know that that person's having a seizure from their intuition, to be able to
Right.
feel that something is going on or smell it or whatever it is for that pet. So yeah, they're very intuitive beings, and just, yeah, they're so much more connected, and really they only have one purpose in life, and that's to be that love for their owner, to love their owner, to trust them. And so they're not boggled down by the busyness and all the things that we have to do, paying bills and all that, right? Their sole purpose is just to love their owner and be loved in return. So it's really like this simple life that makes them so much more intuitive and sensitive.
And do you have some final like practical tips for people who want to start doing this?
Sure. So, I mean, even if you're not psychic, right? Even if you just sit down with your dog and start noticing their behaviors, like, maybe they just started to do like a behavior that they haven't done in a while. And if you just kind of like look at the pattern of what time of the day they're doing it or how often they're doing it, then you can try to figure out like what's going on in this moment during the day that would, make this behavior happen. So if you start to like keep a journal or something like that, you can start to look at these patterns to see like what is going on. And that's just one instance with the behaviors. But yeah, I actually have a free guide on my website that goes through 5 different ways that people can start communicating with their pets. And you don't need to be psychic to do it. It's just giving them a way to be able to communicate better. So that can be found at brandyband.com if they want to go ahead and get the free guide on 5 ways to be able to communicate.
Awesome. I will put the website, of course, in the show notes so
Great. Perfect.
people can
Thank
get
you.
it there. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Brandy. Thank you.
Yes, no problem.